Do you want to register in SAM.gov this year and actually possibly getting in front of millions of dollars in terms of contracts? This is the step-by-step guide that you need to really watch. So if you have ever tried to sell to the federal government, you probably have heard about SAM.gov, right? So SAM.gov stands for the System for Award Management. So this is the official website for people who make, receive, and manage federal awards, okay? And GSA actually teamed up and integrated with partner sites to curate a powerful tool to register, report, search opportunities, and also have sector data. So that's pretty good because it gives you a centralized platform where you can really conduct business, where you can bid on, let's say, government contracts. Okay, so on SEM.gov, you can search contract opportunities and entity registration, access data reports, check assistance listings. So that's really good. And as a matter of fact, you can connect with resources to help your business actually succeed. And it doesn't matter, SEM.gov is actually a federal platform, so it doesn't matter if you are in Texas or Illinois or California, you are able to really get things done in a centralized manner. So every company that sells to the government must register with SAM. So whether this is your first time, let's say, selling to the government, or your 1,000th time, SAM.gov is actually a critical part of the federal procurement process. So knowing the capabilities of the website will really help you big time down the road. Okay, so let me talk to you about registering with SAM.gov. So you have on the screen here, this is the registration platform for SAM.gov. So registering for a SAM.gov account is the first step to submitting your GSA multiple award schedule offer, and is actually required to sell to federal agencies. Okay, that's important to keep in mind. So SAM.gov has made registration a streamlined process, but you still need an array of information to establish your SAM.gov registration. So you'll need your taxpayer identification number, your financial information, maybe your bank account, and also your point of contact who can serve as the electronic business contact info. So the requirements for registering with SAM.gov means that you'll have to collaborate with your company executives and accounting department to get all the necessary information. Okay, that's important. So I'll show you a series of screenshots. So you have the first screenshot here. You have the second screenshot here. You have the third screenshot here. And you have the fourth screenshots. So let me quickly talk to you about your unique entity ID. So if you are thinking about registering a SAM, you got to really think about your UAI. Okay, this is actually a 12-character alphanumeric code used in SAM and other federal government systems as a way to identify a unique entity. It used to be like a Dun and Bradstreet code, but now it's really a federally sort of generated code. So UEIs are issued by SAM.gov and are part of an entity's record in the entity information section of SAM.gov. So you are able to view your unique entity ID or registration record in SAM.gov very easily. So just signing to SAM.gov, select search from the header menu, okay? You want to select entity information. You want to select entities afterwards. You want to scroll to the bottom of the filter list and locate the filter for entity status. Next, you want to enter the unique entity ID, case code, or legal business name into the keyword search box above the filters, or use any of the filters listed to narrow your search. You can filter by entity, purpose of registration, entity type, socio-economic status, product or service information, registration with debt subject to offset, and location. Next, you want to, the entities matching your search will populate, okay? And the details of the entity record are actually displayed. So that's pretty straightforward. And one thing I want to say is that there is a difference between only getting a unique entity ID and registering your entity. So when it comes to registering your entity, an entity registration allows your organization the opportunity to receive a contract or assistance directly from the federal government. not from another contractor or awardee. You need to register your entity in SAM.gov when you want to bid on federal contracts as a prime contractor or seek federal assistance as a prime awardee. So the process for entity registration includes getting the unique entity ID, and requires assertions, representations, and certifications and other information about your business. Now, the unique entity ID does not expire. However, registration must be updated and renewed every year to remain in the active registration status. So if you do not update or renew your registration, it will be in a, let's say, inactive status, but your entity will still have its same unique entity ID. So what about getting a unique entity ID only? Well, some entities who do business with the government may choose not to register in SAM.gov, for example, sub-awardees. In this case, those entities cannot bid directly on federal contracts as a prime contractor or seek federal assistance as a prime awardee. So if this is the goal of the entity, they can go to SAM.gov and get a unique entity ID only, no registration actually required. So the information required for getting a unique entity ID without registration is actually minimal, because it only validates your organization's legal business name and address. So one thing I want to say here is that when you think about SAM.gov, I just want to really explain to you the fact that all entities, that is people or organizations wishing to do business with the federal government, must register on that platform, okay? So businesses and grant or loan recipients must have an active SAM registration to receive federal funds. So registration must be updated every 12 months to remain active. So there is no fee to register on or renew at SAM.gov. Don't listen to people trying to really sell you stuff. And no, you don't have to pay anything. Businesses and grant or loan recipients need a DUNS number, which they can get from Dun& Bradstreet before registering in SAM. But if you can actually bypass the DUNS requirement and just get a UEI. So successfully registering with SAM makes your business visible and accessible to every civilian and military federal agency out there who might otherwise not be aware of your business, okay? So the government actually uses SAM.gov several ways, okay, to actually track contractors, potential contractors, okay? And so if you want to get started, after you create your SAM.gov account, you want to enter your email address, okay? Also, remember that the government uses a two-factor authentication to ensure your security. You need a phone number, an app, and a security key, or a secondary phone number as a backup factor, okay? Now, what you need to know to register on SAM.gov, you need to have the ownership information, the bank account information, the executive compensation information as required, your EIN when needed, okay, that's important. And just go through the process, pretty straightforward, nothing really complicated here, especially when it comes to updating your data, okay? That's something to really be aware of. So yeah, and you can also track your registration, by the way. You have the possibility to track your registration in SAM.gov. So let's talk about renewing your SAM.gov account. So basically, as you can see on the screen here, I'll show you a series of snapshots. So that's the first snapshot. The second snapshot. So you can set an alarm for a few weeks before the anniversary of registering your SAM account, because your SAM.gov registration must be renewed annually. Don't forget that. If you don't renew, you are going to become an inactive supplier, if you will. So updating your SAM registration can be a meticulous process, because it means you'll have to do some updating and reporting every single year. But you know what? It's really worth it. It's really worth it, especially when you think about the potential revenue you can actually bring in based on your active status. So if not renewed by the first anniversary, your online record will become expired and mark you as inactive, okay? So the most important sections of your SAM.gov updates are your financial information, your size metrics, and representations and certifications, so that your reps and certs. The size metrics are really important because maybe you started as a small business last year and then you become a bigger business. You grew like big time. The government wants to be sure that they are still treating you based on your size because there are some contracts that are, let's say, set aside for small businesses. So it wouldn't make sense for you to actually have access to those contracts even though your size has actually doubled or tripled. Okay. So while you're updating your entity's registration, you can also update your POC and your NAICS codes if necessary. So remember that registration and the annual renewal are a free process. So be cautious of emails asking you to pay a few bucks to update your SAM.gov registration. Everything is free. Don't let anybody fool you that you have to pay for stuff. Okay. So once submitted, your SAM registration can take a few days to be approved if there are no major changes. And if there were significant changes, you may be contacted to confirm the updated information. So that's important to really keep in mind, especially if you are going to bid on several federal contracts. So the thing is that when it comes to registering in SAM.gov, you have to really understand that it's really important to understand that you are able to bid on contracts regardless of the size of the contract. 25,000, that's actually the limit whereby the government wants to make sure they're passing on some of the money, the contracts to small businesses. But if you're trying to land a profitable government contracts, possibly worth $100,000 or more, you are able to do things the right way. But it's important to have a clear idea about your NAICS code because everything goes with NAICS code with NAICS codes on SAM.gov. Okay, that's how the federal government is able to track how much they're spending on specific niches. Okay, so you are able to get started. I just want to reiterate that you can get started without a username and password. Okay, so you can actually you don't need a login to access SAM.gov. You want to get started by checking out the contract opportunities section. Okay, here the advanced search is your main tool. However, be aware that SAM.gov is not as sophisticated as Google or YouTube when it comes to search capabilities. I mean, they're still working on that, but they haven't really reached the level where, in terms of user experience, it's not really where it should be at. Now, you also have the challenge of keywords and the importance of NAICS codes. So unlike other search engines, SAM.gov requires a more nuanced approach. Let me just say it this way. So banking on keywords can be challenging due to the platform's limitations. So what you want to do is that you want to focus on using product or service codes. So this is like the NAICS codes, okay? So NAICS stands for North American Industry Classification Systems. So those are particularly useful. And these codes are important when identifying, let's say, your primary business activities, for instance, because they directly impact the opportunities you find in the first place. That's pretty good, especially if you're trying to do several searches at the same time. Let's talk about refining your search, for instance. Now, with over 1,200 to 1,500 opportunities available, narrowing down your options is a must. Remember that the federal contracting market is a $1 trillion industry. Okay, so you have to really think about refining your search. So one effective strategy is to filter by notice type, focusing on sources sought and pre-solicitation. So when you do this, your search will be more manageable and aligns with your business focus, but also your niche. Let me talk to you about the contracting opportunities in SAM.gov. So now that you are registered on SAM.gov, you can start looking for opportunities for government contracts, okay? And you can access the contract opportunities tab. And on this tab, you can search for opportunities through multiple factors. Like I said, like keywords, dates for the solicitations, the notice type, the products, the services, but also the set asides. So the set asides are really good in terms of opportunities, but also in terms of possibilities, okay? And if you want to really increase your chances, that's going to help you big time. Actually, like your chances of approval, that's going to help you big time. One thing I want to say real fast is that basically contract opportunities are procurement notices from federal contracting offices. So anyone interested in doing business with the government can use this system to search for opportunities. And opportunities include solicitation notices, award notices, and sole source notices. And anyone may search for contract opportunities without an account. I think I've said this before, but a user account lets you save searches and join interested vendor list. And you can also follow changes to opportunities and receive email notifications about updates to the opportunity with your account. So that's pretty good. So you do have the search feature on SAM.gov, pretty fantastic. Okay, really straightforward. So you can select the search function. You can select a domain link to search a certain type of data, or you can search. You can actually use the search bar located below the domain links. So in terms of you following contract opportunities, you can follow certain types of records in SAM.gov, contract opportunities, entity records, exclusions, assistance listings, wage determinations, but also federal hierarchy records. You are able to save your searches. You are able to use the interested vendor list also. Okay, that's really important. And so I'm just showing you on the screen here the vendor collaboration opportunities. Also, you can use contract opportunities advanced search within the platform. So on the screen here, you have the vendor collaboration opportunities. That's really key. You also have the search small business events. This is also another pretty interesting opportunity for you if you're trying to really expand your realm. So when you think about registering in SAM.gov, you are able to take advantage of all the data in the SAM.gov data bank if you do things in a specific way. Let me break it down for you. You want to conduct market research because this eliminates time that you might have lost to missed opportunities and getting beat out by your rivals. Okay, so having access to large amounts of data gives you the ability to make the best decisions and stand out from competitors. So the reports generated by SAM.gov supports the analysis and tracking of federal awards through their life cycle. So that's really important. So accessing the available data is kind of easy. If you click on the data bank tab in the upper left corner of the SAM.gov homepage, if you do so, it will take you to the portal to select the desired report type. So the different roles assigned to you through SAM determine which reports are available for you to run. And the data bank allows you to download and report and actually run reports you can filter through to get the most pertinent information. So reports actually range from static pre-generated reports prepared on a fiscal year basis for the public and are available as prepared for download to fully customizable ad hoc reports that offer the ability to select data fields from the database to run a query. So that's kind of cool. There are also standard reports that contain information about contract activity and can be filtered and sorted to locate the information that you need in the first place. You have assistant listings in SAM, okay? That can also help you. I mean, this used to be called the Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance, CFDA, back in the days. Nowadays, they are just called assistant listings. You also have entity reporting, okay? And this is also service contract reports through entity reporting can be really help you big time also in SAM.gov. So that's really a great way to leverage the info you currently have. So bottom line is you can really make the most of GSA tools through SAM.gov to make sure that you are increasing your chances of bidding on the right federal contract and actually winning them. So in conclusion to this conversation, I explained to you how to register in SAM. I talked to you about the contract opportunities, how to take advantage of all the data in data bank. And yeah, finally, I just hope that you really got a lot of value from this video. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.